Oh, hello. I told you a while ago that I would be writing a novel in a month, and this is no small endeavor. I'm hoping that by completing this challenge, I can finally finish a book that I've been working on for over 2 decades. So, let's get into my first week. Well, I'm sitting at work, and I've had time to sit for a while now, and so far so good. Decided to pick up the story from a different place. I was inspired by the likes of Brandon Sanderson's series, The Stormlight Archives, the way he organizes his chapters, how he writes his characters, how he's able to really make you feel what his characters are feeling. I want that. So my focus today has been trying to emulate that. I'm really going to be writing several different stories. One about the main character as he is in the present, the second about the main character in the past. I'm not sure if I'll have 5 different stories all being interwoven at this point, but I want to do it. I'm not sure if I will have 5 different stories all being interwoven, at least not for this book, perhaps for the second. Oh, look at me, already planning on writing the second book. I've got this. Today went smoothly after all. We'll see how it goes in the future. I know it won't be smooth sailing all the time, but it doesn't hurt to be optimistic. Alright, I finished the first chapter and imported the second from a previous write session nearly a year ago. I'll have to edit it for the new style, but that can come later. I began work on the 3rd chapter. I did kind of start right in the middle for that, so tomorrow I'll write from the beginning and get the introduction done, and if I can, I'll finish it. If I can do that, then I can perhaps import chapter 4. I'll need to go back to chapter 1 and add a bit more. I feel like the chapter's a bit short, but it's also really not in a state to demand more like chapter 2 or 3 is. You might be asking, where do I spend my time to plan things out? And the truth is, I really don't need to. At least not yet. When you've been writing the same book for years, you tend to just know what events happen, even if you don't know how the characters will get along or act with each other. Because there's one thing you all seem to forget. You can always go back and change the dialogue if you need to. Ha! Well, today was a tough day. I had to go to work for a little bit, and I decided I'd just stay there with my laptop and try and write so that I wouldn't become distracted at home. And it was rough. I stayed there for like 2 hours and only managed to write 3 paragraphs. Those 3 paragraphs were like a beachhead. I had a place to write from now. So as I drove home, I let my mind wander and just explore what I'd written. I didn't do much beyond that of this needs to happen. But despite that hard start, I did manage to connect the beginning of the chapter that I wrote yesterday. And while it is still rough, it is enough for now. I'll spend time refining in between writing sprints. I did not get to doing the video for YouTube, the one that I released last week. But I did manage to get 2,000 words. So, we are on target. If I can keep the pace, then I might finish the first part of my book by the end of November. Anyway, it's late. I'll get back with you tomorrow. I was an idiot. I was on target, went out for dinner yesterday with a friend, and decided that it would be a good idea to get some Diet Coke. I didn't mention this in my log yesterday because, well, I'd written 2,000 words and was quite happy. But that Diet Coke kept me up almost the entire night. I tried to go to bed and couldn't. Combine that with an early day of work, and, well, it cost me dearly in terms of writing. I wrote a measly 200 words when my brain refused to work, because sleep is kind of required to have your brain work. I tried to nap instead, figuring I could catch up in the afternoon, but that failed spectacularly, because I kept getting woken up by people who needed questions answered. So what was supposed to be 2 hours of writing turned into 2 hours of me trying to sleep, which turned into me answering questions off and on. So without that sleep, it became a waste of a day, is what I would say if I also didn't finish the video you all saw last week. Ha! In your face, exhaustion! So now I know what not to do, so I won't repeat that. Chapter 5, here I come. Well, I was all over the place today. I started in one place, skipped ahead, wrote something, then skipped again. So while I wrote a lot of segments, they aren't really connected, but they are written. So tomorrow I'll likely spend time connecting them together, and if I can, I will finish them. But I think this will be a longer chapter, so it might take a few days. Plus, chapter 1 and 3 are on the short side. It needs some more refinement, more meat. so I'll need to start consuming more protein and work on those as well. All in due time. Tomorrow is chapter 5. Hopefully I can do another 2,000 words and not the 1,800 I did today. Need to make up for yesterday. Tomorrow is an early day, so I should get a lot done. Well, today went pretty good. Once I figured out what was bothering me, that is. It just didn't hit the right tone. It made everything I wrote just seem off-key, if that makes sense. After I spent 3 or 4 hours trying different things, I hit a stride I was happy with. Then on my drive home from work, I was hit with 3 scenes and knew I had to write them. I was worried I wouldn't be able to reproduce the ideas on paper if I delayed. Even so, I didn't quite get them quite as I had during the drive back. I wrote them better. I am honestly quite happy with how they came out. For those wondering, my word count so far is about 2,600. Sorry, I said that wrong. My word count so far is 26,000 words. Granted, that's with 2 important chapters, one of them being 10,000 words and the other's like 6,000 or 8,000. I could look, but what purpose would that serve other than make me worry about numbers? Ha! You can count them when the book comes out. Tomorrow, I'll work on connecting the scenes I wrote, and chapter 5 will be finished. All right, it's day 7, or rather, that's what I would say if I wrote something. Turns out, keeping a daily log can be quite difficult when you spend a lot of your time with friends over the weekend. I had another day of writing, and I finished chapter 5, and wrote about 4,000 words. It was really great, just didn't leave me any time for, writing a log. But those 4,000 words were necessary because the next day I took off from writing because I wanted to hang out with some friends and play some Dungeons and Dragons. We had a great time, and it was well into the evening with lots of caffeine, so I am lucky it was the weekend and I didn't have to go to work. And while I was up till 4 o'clock, I was going to be able to sleep in, is what I would say if I didn't wake up at 7 and feel absolutely wide awake. Kind of weird trying to write when your mind is absolutely exhausted and yet you're wide awake. I blame the caffeine. I didn't get much done, and that's kind of sad. But that brings you up to date with my progress. So far, I've had 2 instances of my stupidity costing me time to write, and I will have to do better. That said, I am making fantastic progress, and I am on track to finish. So, wish me luck, and I'll catch up with you again next week. Goodbye for now.